Science and magic. Welcome in. My name is Amanda Helen, and normally I talk about nervous system care, feminine energy, working deliciously. And today I wanted to do video 3 of my series of my pregnancy. So when I was pregnant, I remember often searching for information on YouTube, and it could be anything from, what do I need for my newborn? So I could find baby registry ideas to what should I expect in my body, to advice. So this is really my way of kind of giving back and sharing my experience and my story and kind of what I've done every single trimester. And this video will be about my third trimester, and I will link the first and second one below. So I will say I'm telling everything from, it's very personal and unique to me. I'm never speaking on behalf of anyone else. Pregnancy and birth are just so personal, and everyone's story is so unique and sacred. So this is just me sharing how I digested and went through my experience in hopes to just create connection and create story and share ideas. So I'd love to know, I mean, they're not my most viewed videos at this time, but they do get some views. And so I'd love to know, if you're tuning in, are you are you a mother who's already kind of gone through this process? Are you a new mother? Are you currently pregnant and looking for connection? Are you wanting to have babies in the future and curious? So if you could just kind of let me know in the chat, I'd be not in the chat necessarily, but even the comments, I'd be so interested. So the exciting thing about a third trimester for me is that I started showing, and it was so much during my pregnancy for me to hold um, this knowledge that I'm incubating this life and then not necessarily be seen physically. It took me a long time to show. And again, everyone's different with this. So some women show a lot earlier, some it takes a while to pop. I think it's kind of in my genes. My mom was the same way. I have a really long torso. And I also live in Minnesota. So where I was wearing a lot of jackets and big sweatshirts, and I was not seen as being pregnant for 6 months, which is a long time, especially when there's so much internally that's changing and shifting. So that was when I think of third trimester, I was like, yes, like I have this experience of being seen in my pregnancy. And that would have been March, April, May. So you can see it's starting to get warm out. Um, we made our official announcement so that we were pregnant on social media before I was telling close friends and family, just to kind of incubate the experience and keep it close. I wasn't going out, in public places a lot, where I would know people. So it was a really fun announcement to make. Got so much support from the community, from our loved ones, from followers. And I got to go out salsa dancing with my bump. And if you don't know, that's how my husband and I met, was dancing. So this was a really sweet way to celebrate for me. And I love that Ethan, my baby, got to experience dancing and moving in the womb. I still dance with him, I mean, outside of the womb, but it was really definitely an experience, right? Going out dancing, being like physically showing that pregnancy, like having that bump that rested me off my center of gravity. And I even wear heels. I didn't go dancing a lot just because I also, with pelvic stability and things like that, I had to take it slow and I couldn't do some of the moves and things like that. But it was just so fun to just be like, here I am, world, I'm pregnant. Um, it was a time of celebration. So all of the research and the planning that I'd done on YouTube and reading books and all these things of like, what should I get? How should I prepare? Sending out invites for my events, for the baby shower, for the mother blessing, planning those things, getting my list, my wish list up, things like that. Like it was finally like, okay, that stuff was all set. And now it was time to celebrate. So I had two different celebrations. One was a baby shower. and one was a mother blessing. And I want to talk about those because the mother blessing was so amazing. And some people know about it and some don't, but it's designed to support the transformation into motherhood. Like typically people get really excited about like, oh, there's a new baby coming, and it's all about the baby. And I understand that because babies are amazing miracles and there's something to be excited about for sure. But it's also this incredible transition for the mother, no matter how many kids you have. It's like a birth of a new human being through this experience. And when you support the mother, you support the baby. So this is all about that sacred ritual, that sacred transformation. So I invited my closest friends, and there's about 20 of us, I think. And we did a variety of things. I had my belly out. So I had like a crop top and then a skirt, and then my belly was out. And one of the things that we did was paint my belly. So I had paints and people could come and like paint and connect with the growing life inside of me in that way. We had some like light snacks, I think like berries and chocolates, this really beautiful like hibiscus tea my friend made, herbal teas. It was just lovely. And there was an affirmation station. It sounds so corny, but through the hypnobirthing training that my husband and I did for labor and delivery, part of it was about self-hypnosis and reciting positive affirmations. So I had a list of the affirmations that I wanted to instill in my subconscious. And then I had friends choose from that list and then write on a card like what the list is. So an example is I surrender my birth over to my body and my baby. I trust my body to birth. Um, I I relax and my cervix widens open. So there was all these different affirmations that I chose that felt good to me. And then they wrote them, and I had their handwriting on all these different cards. And I ended up putting the cards on this like post-it board. And then I put the boards up in my room, in my office, so that I was always intaking that content. And I felt my community in there. Another fun thing that I did, oh, this one just gives me chills because I got a bunch of candles, like smaller size candles, and I had everyone light them. And then we sang the original lullaby that I've sang to my sang to my little one since first trimester. And I talk about that in my first trimester video. And we played that video, or we played that song and listened to it and lit those candles. And then everyone in the group, if they wanted to, they could share, they could bless me somehow with some words of affirmation. If they wanted to gift me something, if they wanted to offer like a service of some sort, like I'll cook a meal for you. So it was about kind of blessing me in this transformation. It was so humbling and it was so beautiful. And it filled me up, and I really felt the love from the people around me. And then the candles were blown out after that was done. And the ask was that my doula was going to email everyone who attended that mother blessing. And once I went into labor, they all lit the candles from wherever they were at and held me in their energetic space as I went through labor. And I swear it helped. Like it helped so much during labor. So that was a really amazing event for me. And I'm trying to think if we did anything else. Oh, my friend set up a meal train for me there, meaning that if they wanted to bless me through service, that they could sign up for the meal train and cook a meal for me postpartum, me and James and our little family, so that I could just rest and recover. So the other one we did was a mother blessing, or a baby shower. And the baby shower was actually so fun. So typically in the States, typically the baby showers I've been to have been just women that come to them, and you play like little games, and it's more intimate and I guess not so much of a party. And my husband is from South America, Colombian, and he says like these baby showers are more like parties and then it's co-ed. So our baby shower was so fun because we did a blend of kind of his culture and my culture. and we rented out the party room in the building that we were staying in at the time. And he made like these big trays of beans and rice and pulled meat. And then we had like bachata music playing in the background. And it was co-ed. So my uncles and my cousins and my, his friends came and, my female community came. This one was more family, I would say. A couple of close friends, but this one was more family, whereas the mother blessing was more friends. And we just had a party. Like it felt so lively, and there's tons of conversation. We did a couple of games. I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed talking about one of them, but we had my uncles and my guy cousins did like a chugging beer out of like baby bottles. I know. I mean, I'm not a huge drinker, but it was fun. Like I said, it was just like it was hilarious. We had like my cousins and uncles just standing there like sucking out of these baby bottles. We were just crying, laughing so hard. It wasn't that much beer, it was just a little bit. And we had, what else did we do? We did like a little quiz about James and I, which was fun. Something that you might do at like a bridal shower or something. And we had, oh, like a measure, guess how big my belly was, and people would cut the tape. So we had a few of the games, the traditional games you would have here. And then it was just about celebrating together. I opened my gifts up in front of everybody, of course, and people sat, and it was really fun. I had such a fun baby shower. So those were the two events that I did. And by the way, I did a video about new mama essentials, and I have an Amazon store link to that. And I put that in the chat. It's in the description, and the video's there as well. But what I talk about in that video are the items that were like so essential for kind of me and my process of becoming a mother. It's not like, oh, just these baby clothes or these are the diapers I used. It was more of like, I needed this bouncy ball because I use the bouncy ball every single day postpartum. And then even when I was pregnant, it helped my hips, it helped me loosen up, things like that. It was a very curated list of the staples that I needed at the time. I did a ton of nesting in third trimester. So I continued. It's very, I can tell, I can see why it's a thing because it just felt very natural for me. I continued to grow my pantry to stock up on food because I knew in those coming months I probably wouldn't want to go to the store a lot. So I stocked up on a lot of like the grains and the nuts and like all these things, legumes in my pantry. I continued to meal prep. So every time I make a meal, I'd put half of that meal in the freezer so that we could unfreeze it later, especially in the later part of third trimester. So it wasn't yeah, it was like in the last month or so I started doing that because you don't want just like a stocked freezer for 3 months. But I started to, even though I had the meal train, I just wanted to do as much work as I could do ahead of time to prepare me for the time when I'm taking care of my newborn. I sorted through baby clothes, through baby devices. We were gifted so generously from our friends and family with hand-me-downs of all kinds. Like I don't think we haven't bought a single outfit for Ethan, and he's just dressed in such cute clothes. And we were just gifted with so much. So we went through, we sorted, we put in piles like 0 to 3 months. This is the newborn, this is the 6 months, and we would store them and kind of rearrange our living space to accommodate for the arrival of the newborn. And it took some thought and some intention for sure to do all of that. Researched YouTube video, read about what it means to be a new mother, breastfeeding. There was just so much. And the thing is, there was so much information to take in, but I also really wanted to just be with my body. And I feel like I got that time. I titled the series My Gentle Pregnancy because I really had a gentle pregnancy. I feel like I was just blessed with this beautiful, spacious experience. And I run my own business, so I'm able to work as little or as much as I'd like. And I'm blessed by a very supportive husband who allowed me the time and the space to just soak in this expansive liminal time of life, really, where you're straddling these two worlds of like, okay, maiden to mother. So that's part of why I said my gentle pregnancy. postpartum was not so gentle for me. And I'm going to do a video about that, I think. I'm still integrating it because I'm almost a year post. So I've been trying to do these videos in the energy of what it was like a year ago. And a year ago, oh yeah, I have my journal. Yeah, a year ago, right now, I was 2 weeks out from going into labor. So it's kind of fun for me to reflect on the year post. Uh, James and I did a labor and delivery class called Hypnobirthing. I think I talked about this in the second trimester, but I'm going to touch on it again. It was so wonderful to go to this birthing class with him. It created this connection. I felt like we were both so informed about the process and what to expect. And the hypnobirthing model was all about the possibility of having a gentle and even pleasurable birth. And you saw birthing videos with that story. I mean, these women were just like incredible. They would just be breathing and their baby would like come out. I'm like, what? Especially now having gone through it, that was not my experience. But we would just on every Tuesday night for a series of weeks, drive to this cozy space. They gave us neck wraps. Every week, a different family would bring tea or treats. And so we'd have some food, we'd have hot tea, and we would just learn about what's going on in my body, kind of what to expect. And we'd have homework to do to create connection between the two of us. It was lovely. So we did that. I wrote my birthing plan in third trimester after getting all the information that I needed, that I could. And I wrote down what I intended for my birth so that when I was birthing, I didn't have to make any decisions, that the scenarios were laid out and I could rest into knowing. And this comes into play. I'm going to share a little bit about my birthing experience at the very end of this, and you'll see why me creating my birthing plan was important, because in the moment, you don't want to have to make a lot of decisions. So you want those things thought out, and then it helps you surrender and feel safe. So James and I did self-hypnosis every night. Well, I did self-hypnosis every night. Sometimes he would join me, which was really sweet. And it was all about, doing my affirmations, relaxing my body. Like, honestly, a lot of third trimester was just about relaxing because my body was expanding. And in labor, your hips literally expand. They grow, like they grow apart. It's crazy. So a lot of this was just about relaxing my nervous system and leaning into safety. I did a ton of self-care rituals, so baths, oil massage. I did prenatal Pilates 3 times a week. I loved that. The Bell method, I talk about it in, I think, the second trimester video, but it's intended to train the muscles that are needed for birthing. So you learn how to relax your pelvic floor and then engage your core. And so I was able to train those muscles so that when the time came, it was pretty, not easeful. It was smooth though. It was like my body had the template to know what to do. And it felt nice to have a degree of working out, right? Like moving my body, like building some sort of, I don't want to say strength. It was just like engaging my muscles in a really gentle way. Because I had stopped yoga at that point. I couldn't do yoga anymore. I was too flexible. I had, too much relaxin running through my system. My pelvis was not stable. I needed to have more stability, and that program gave me that. I was just focused on surrender, on tuning into my body, on tuning into my baby. I could really start to feel him moving. Like I would just lay there and put my hand on my belly and like feel him kicking and moving. And it was the most amazing feeling to feel that and to have the time and the space in my life to feel that. Like I will never forget it. It was so beautiful. Structural support, I went to the chiropractor weekly by this point. So I made sure to be getting adjustments so that Ethan could turn head down, and things would come up because so much physical change is happening in the body at the time. So I would make sure to go to the chiropractor. I got a weekly massage at that point. I'd done a trade with a friend for Rolfing for massage, and it was incredible. So I'd get an hour and a half massages, 2-hour massages. And more than structurally, that was a spiritual experience for me, because when I was pregnant, I just wanted to be touched. I wanted, like, it's such a feminine state. You just like want to be almost poured into. And that massage just like eased my soul. It was the most, she specialized in prenatal massage too. It felt, yeah, spiritual. Like my whole body relaxed for sure, but also it was like my soul could kind of catch up to the experience of my body. I used a belly band on that band that you can wrap around the lower abdomen to help give you some support. It also felt like it kind of contained my pelvis. Remember, I said the pelvis kind of expands, it like contained it in. And then I went to acupuncture. So acupuncture was really helpful. I wouldn't say that so much of structural help, but with the hormones, it helped so much. And I still go to acupuncture almost a year postpartum. So I know that, remember that there was a bit of discomfort at that time with the sun returning, actually. So especially like late April, the last few weeks, it was like everyone was out and about, and there's this return of like young energy, and people were biking and running, and it was so bright and getting hot. And I felt like this move, even though my belly was showing and I was in season in that way, like the sprouts are starting to come from the ground, like things like that. Like my belly was starting to arise and the life was going to be birthed through me. But I remember feeling like so internal that I was just like, pull the shades. Like I don't want to be out. I don't want, like, obviously I'm not being active. I felt so in my yin energy that it was kind of a disconnect. Like I remember being irritable by the heat from the sun. It wasn't even that hot. So several appointments, a lot of my time was just kind of going to appointments. I cleared my schedule by the last 2, 3 weeks so that I could just be, and we don't, anything could happen during pregnancy. So we didn't know how it would unfold. I had a ton of dreamy time and space. Like I said, I felt like it was like liminal, like I'm straddling the bridge. And I'm sure this is similar with every single child you have if you have multiple, but there's something about, and I can't speak to this actually because I've only had one, but for me, this first one just felt like I can't think of a bigger transition. I can't. Going from not having a child to having a child, it's like, and then the weeks leading up to that, there's this sacredness to it. It's like, I tuned in, everything was just quiet. And I really did my best. Like, even though I had the birth plan, even though I had, what I intended or what I wanted, I did my best to just say, you know what? However you want to birth baby and body, and however you want to assist me, God, like I'm open, I'm open, I'm open. So I did my best to just surrender. I actually have my journal. I want to read it. I picked out an entry from this time. So actually, this is really cool. This was the day before I gave birth. This is what I wrote. I'm loving this stage in pregnancy, the final days, slow and spacious, wide open possibilities, calm, relaxed, very little responsibility. My main job is to take care of myself right now, to nourish and to be calm, to incubate, to take it easy. I feel so held by the universe, so cared for. This experience of being pregnant has been such a gift. I can't wait to meet Ethan. And then I talked about James and I went out actually that night. It was, yeah, we just went out. There was a couple of events going on, and we're like, you know what? Let's have a date night. We don't know when the next time it'll just be us two. And the next day is when I went into labor. And it was like the day before his due date. It was really wild because typically the first pregnancies, what I've heard is that it'll be later than the due date. And then my brother we call it guest date. So it was just such a sweet time in life. I will say I did have a freak out moment of just like, what's happening? And I had to go get a somatic experience session. I needed some support for my system because I just had a lot of fears come up about being a mother that I needed, space to be held for. I started working with a therapist who specializes in the transition to motherhood. And this is something that I would just recommend so much. Like, even if you don't think you'll need it postpartum, making contact ahead of time with someone who could hold that space for you if you do need it, it can be just a game changer. So I started kind of working with someone, and then I had built that rapport and that relationship so that afterwards in postpartum, I had some support from somebody. Um, and again, postpartum wasn't easy for me, but that's another time. So that's what I have to share about third trimester. It was just a lot about celebration, continuing to move. My mic just shifted. One second. There we go. My mic's back on. It was a lot about just like letting myself be visible and celebrating and surrendering and really these final moments of transition. And it just, yeah, it was a really, really beautiful time. So my birth, I'm going to talk just a little bit about that. Not in detail. It's a sacred thing, so I don't know. I want to share because I think that a lot of this prep work that it helped me to have my birthing experience. Again, my mic, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not going to tap it anymore. It's like so sensitive. So I will say my birth was very smooth. It was unmedicated, like natural. It was at a birth center, but it was not easy. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was like, I'm not like, I was just humbled by the experience. And this isn't always the case. Every birthing experience is unique. Again, I'm speaking about my birthing experience and what it was like for me. Every single woman I've talked to, it's different. Some have like very pleasurable births. Some have very, very easy births. Some have extremely difficult and excruciatingly painful births. So some of it's prep, but honestly, some of it's just the way of it. Like it's like luck or not luck, or I don't know. So I will say what I did and how it was for me. And I had a great experience in the sense that it was smooth. Easy? No. No. So like I said, so some notes are was at a birth center. I worked with a midwife and a doula, and I loved the energy of the birth center. That was important for me. So I selected it because I felt relaxed when I walked in there. And it's really important when you're in labor to feel a sense of safety and relaxation. I did labor at home, just with James for 12 hours. Like that's how long I was having my contractions. And I was about 7 centimeters dilated when I went in. So I say that because a lot of the labor was done at our home and together. And it was scary because I've never done it before. And I didn't, I was in contact with the birth center and calling the midwife and things like that. And eventually they said to come in. So we drove to the birth center and I felt immediate relief because I'm like, there's my team, there's my midwife, there's my doula. There's a big warm tub there. There's I had made a playlist, a friend make a playlist for me. So we put the playlist on. So there's this beautiful music in the background. I thought I would bring my affirmations, did not matter. I was not looking at anything. It was a very soothing environment. The lights were a certain way. I also thought that I would have snacks and stuff. Not a chance. I wasn't even thinking about eating. And actually, I couldn't keep anything down. So all these like snacks I made for labor, like frozen grapes and energy balls, like honestly, forget it. Not for me. I was focused on letting my body go through the contractions, the surges, as we call them in hypnobirthing, and just surrender and relax into them. Like I said, I was unmedicated. I had only laughing gas, and thank goodness for that laughing gas because that just helped to slow things down and just kind of alter the experience just enough to make it bearable. Um, I focused on relaxing my limbs during my contractions, during those surges, because I know with the nervous system, if you're tense in your limbs and you're tense in your jaw, you're in a sympathetic response, meaning that your body feels like you're in danger. And why would you give birth when you're in danger? So I knew it was really important for me to just rest and relax, even though I did want to tense. Like it was the biggest lesson in surrender. And I had my doula, the midwife, my husband kind of give me loving touch during and in between the contractions and surges. Like I established in the in our birthing class that like tickles really worked for me. Like touch really felt soothing to me. So there's always someone by my side. And that was really important, like holding my hand or giving me encouraging words. My doula was like right there the entire time saying affirmations and tickles. James had to go take breaks every now and then because it's a lot for the person who's with you during the birth too. So he had to go like go for a walk and just like relax, open his mind. Um, Honestly, there was no time to consciously implement the affirmations or the breathing exercises I'd done in the labor and delivery class. No time. It wasn't like I wasn't consciously directing the experience. The experience was directing me and I was surrendering into it. That's the best way I can describe it. So the best I could do was just focus on relaxing. And I didn't like, oh, I'm going to do the J breath or I'm going to do this, 4-6-4-8 breath. Nope. It was just like, let me get through this contraction, this surge with as much relaxation as I possibly can. And trust that the affirmations are in my mind. And they were. They were in my mind. I know that because I practiced them and I know how the subconscious works. So it was the most intense, most exhausting thing that I've ever done. I made a lot of noise, which is interesting. The moaning, it felt very natural. Again, I didn't have to force it. I know that if I started to go at a higher tone, the midwife would bring me lower. And there's something about that because it's like the root. And there was something so primal. And I know a lot of women have told me that they use sounds too. And wasn't not conscious. I wasn't like, let me use this sound to open my root. No, my body just did it. Um, the really cool thing about my birthing experience was the pushing phase, the last phase of labor and delivery. It was only 8 minutes for me. The media that you see with like women on their back, kind of like pushing and breathing for like excruciating pain. That to me was a very different experience. It was like my body just did it. It was like one huge surge contraction, head out, another, the rest of the body. And it was so intense, but like there was no pushing. And I don't know if some of that is because I did the prenatal Pilates class. Some of that is because I did the affirmations. Like I trust my body and my baby to birth, but it just happened. And again, everyone's experience is different. Some do lay on their backs and like push, and that's a part of their birthing experience. I have friends who have told me that, but for me, it was different. And I think part of it is the prenatal Pilates, part of it is a self-hypnosis, part of it is just, luck. It's just my unique experience. I will say that my birthing plan came into effect when I had complications with my placenta delivery. It was delayed. And so at the very end, like I'd say 45 minutes into golden hour, I had to be taken into an ambulance to, possibly have that removed. And then it finally birthed in the ambulance. And that was um, such a gift. But my birthing plan was important for that because I wrote in my plan that I wanted to remain skin to skin with my baby if I had to have a transfer to the hospital. So I knew that they would continue to let me be skin to skin with him and he wouldn't be separate from me. That was really important to me. And then I had put different scenarios of if the placenta didn't deliver. So I knew that my preferences were all taken care of, that my midwife had that my husband had it, that everything was kind of set so I could just rest and be with my baby at that time. So I highly recommend creating a birthing plan for different scenarios in case they do happen for that reason. So that's everything that I have to share. I mean, I am sending you so much love to anyone watching this, like wherever you're at in your journey. If you're in the third trimester yourself, oh, my heart to you. What an experience, what a journey. If you're just starting your pregnancy, if you're not pregnant but intend to be in the future, if you're you're a mama of like 5 kids, like wherever you're at in your journey, I'm sending you so much love in this process. And I'd love to hear from you. I mean, where you're at in your journey. I'm so curious. This isn't my main content I share on my channel. This is extra stuff that I'm just kind of documenting in my journey. And I'm curious how it's landing with all of you and if it's helpful. This was more of a vulnerable share with me sharing a bit about my birthing experience, but my intention is just to create connection, to exchange story, to offer. I don't know, there was something about that when I was pregnant, like hearing other women's stories. For me, it was really soothing. So I hope that that brings you into a place of more ease and more connection. And where, again, wherever your journey is, it's such a mysterious thing being pregnant and giving birth. So check out my store, New Mama Essentials, if you are going to be a new mama, and see what I recommend. I have a video to pair with that to explain more. But thank you so much for tuning in. And again, my name's Amanda, and blessings to you.